Hi everybody, Cheryl and Lady coming to you from the Ladies Garden and Home, and happy August. I thought today would be a perfect day to take you on a tour of the garden to see the progress. I hope you join us. So inside the house, I've started the brassicas for the fall and some peas too, which may have been a little bit early. But in here I have different kinds of broccoli, Brussels sprouts, leeks, cauliflower, kale, Romanesco broccoli, so a whole variety. Up here on the deck, the herbs are doing well. In fact, I need to harvest some more to encourage more growth. This is the thyme and the catnip. The oregano went through a little bit of harshness when I went away for a couple of days and didn't water them. But I did plant some more seeds, and as you can see, they're just starting to pop up. So hopefully that'll fill out this container. The marigolds sure have been pretty. Here we've got rosemary, more thyme, chives, parsley. The dill finished, so I planted some more, and that's starting to come up too. The lemon balm is really doing well. I gave the containers a little bit of fertilizer about 2 weeks ago, and I think it's really helped. Here behind this tall marigold, we've got more oregano, more thyme, and basil. And my goal with these top containers is that I'm going to bring them inside the house over the winter. I did that last year, and pretty much most of them came through very nicely, and then I set them back here. The lemon balm is a good example. Here in these 3 containers, yesterday I planted ginger. Now I found out that ginger is very slow growing, 10 months to harvest. My goal is to get them started out here in the nice warmth. They're tropical loving, so you know, in the heat of the summer, encourage their growth, then bring them inside over the winter, keep them warm, bring them back outside, transplant them because these pots aren't going to be big enough for a mature plant, and then hopefully have a harvest sometime in June or July. And then over here is the big basil plant that I overwintered inside the house. Seems very happy out here. And these are the zucchini and yellow squash that I started, the summer squash, that I did later this year in the hopes of avoiding the squash vine borers. So I planted these July 15th, just about 2 weeks ago. And they should be ready to plant out in another 2 weeks. Here is everybody's favorite, Mancini the pepperoncini. I'm going to cut in with a video that I took when it was full of peppers. And I harvested all of them and I made vinegar peppers. I just thought I would shoot a quick update on Mancini the pepperoncini. He is full of peppers right now. He is heavily laden with a whole bunch of peppers, which I'm going to be harvesting real soon to make vinegar peppers. It's liked being harvested because I've got tons of little peppers just starting out. And here is the strawberry cart. And I've got some interesting new growth. Now, strawberries usually propagate themselves by planting out runners that kind of go across the soil, and then you can plant those and have another plant. But this one, I think, is doing it from inside the ground because I have a bunch of little baby plants starting. Which is very exciting. So, and I've been getting about a strawberry a day, which isn't bad for this little cart. Got the geranium about to rebloom again. I think everybody enjoyed getting some fertilizer last week. Here's the blueberry plants. They are, I think, they're done for the summer. This plant had a hard time last year, and I'm hoping it'll rebound and grow now that it's over the stress of trying to produce fruit. As you can see, it's got some nice new growth on it, so hopefully it'll fill out. And the green stalk. So I did plant up some new seeds in here, and I took out a bunch of stuff that had bolted, some lettuces that had gone to seed. And interestingly enough, here where I planted some chard, the romaine decided to grow back. I think it's romaine. Got Swiss chard. The sage is doing very nicely. Catnip, basil. I've noticed with the green stalk that the ones that are on the bottom tier, they really need to be supplemented with some water. I need to come in here pretty much, especially since the seedlings are new. I have to pretty much give it a water every day. This New Zealand spinach is doing really well, and I harvested a bunch of the leaves the other night and made a little saute with some chard. That was very good. And generally I've been throwing about 2 to 3 gallons of water in the top every day in this heat and sun. Sometimes 4. Oh, and let's not forget little Paprika. I've harvested a couple of peppers off of him already, but he's got some forming up. What I'm interested in trying is drying these peppers out and then turning them into a powder and making you know, paprika, the spice. Here's just a top view of the sunflowers. This one has reached above the fence, and you can see it's starting to form a head at the top, and I'm hoping they will bloom within the next week or two. So I made this little bird bath. I used to have that big planter right side up and filled with water, but it got very filled with algae. So I decided to plus the birds couldn't exactly, they didn't look comfortable on something so deep. So I thought this little ceramic pot would be better. It's got a lip they can stand on. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see if they come to the garden. But I wanted to come over here underneath the tree because in the last 2 years I really didn't do much with this space. This was just overgrown weeds that we would weed whack. And then last year I put down some cardboard over all of the, well, I weed whacked first, and then I put some cardboard down all over, going even back into the corners. And then I put down some good soil, some good container soil, and then some compost on top. And I thought I would have to repeat the process if I wanted to plant anything in here this year because it had gotten so overgrown. But after I weeded, I realized most of the weeds, not all of them, not this horrendous porcelain berry that is everywhere in this backyard, but most of them were surface weeds. So I just gave it a good weeding, put more compost down, and what I planted in here, some flowers. You see some impatiens, some marigolds. Actually, these marigolds were volunteers, believe it or not. And then I put in some butternut squash, and the butternut squash, as you can see, is really enjoying the spot. You would think that underneath the tree it would be too shady, but it gets quite a bit of morning sun, and I think it must be plenty. So this is one squash plant that's decided to travel all the way up here, and we have a little baby butternut squash coming on. Isn't that cute? Hello. Got some zinnias growing in here too, and I kind of broadcasted some zinnia seeds last week just to see if they could fill in some of those empty spots. So coming around here, this is the lavender row, and I did some more harvesting yesterday. So there's still plenty of flowers for the bees to have a good time with, but I did harvest quite a few buds. Lady, you got something on your nose. Lady. And then in here we've got the nasturtium, some echinacea, which I'm really interested in making an echinacea tincture this year. Apparently you need Everclear, so I'm going to get some of that, and I'm going to make a tincture for the winter. It's supposed to help very well with colds. So in here we've got carrots. They're starting to take off. This was the patch that my dog decided to dig up a couple of times, so where I did a video that showed a beautiful row, I just kind of gave up and just kind of threw some seeds in there to see what would happen. But they're growing. I'm going to have to start thinning them out. I'd like for them to get a little bit bigger before I thin them out, so I can have at least a little bit of a harvest with some tiny carrots. Right, lady? Yeah. Okay, some Swiss chards growing in here. I did take out the big lily plant that was here, that the lily leaf bugs were getting to. but hopefully they'll come back healthy next year. The leeks survived ladies trampling on them back here, and so has this sunflower. It's not as far along as the other ones in the garden, and I think it's simply because of the difference in sunlight. In here we've got carrots. I did do a little bit of thinning in here, and I ended up using the carrots in a vinegar pepper recipe that I did.